So not only was I driving up to a location and couldn't get in, or the person who didn't show would have me feeling like I'm not supposed to do anything else but just walk away, but at the same time I didn't have answers to nothing either. So I just spent all of my time and effort trying to get an appointment set just to get there and end up walking away with nothing. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about when is the best time to get the questions answered when doing field inspection. Is it best to get them answered beforehand, during the inspection, or even after? So let's jump right into that. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have watched me doing my ride-alongs and you have heard me say that this one has already been taken care of. The question has been answered for this. The question has been answered for that. The reason for that is because I've already asked the questions to the insured when I set the appointment. Sometimes I make that call based off of my experience with that insured. Now, for some of you who are already doing this type of work, you probably are already asking questions up front. But there are those who are new and are wondering exactly when should they actually ask the questions. Well, the answer to that is totally up to you, but it all depends, where I'm concerned, as to what my previous experience is with the actual insured. And what I mean by that, if I have already had to call the insured on several occasions, probably shoot them some emails here or there, probably even had to call the agency to see if they can assist me in getting this appointment set because I'm being ignored, things of that nature. In my previous experience, if that happens, a lot of times, even though they'll go ahead and set the appointment, they don't even show up. So if they don't show up, and even if the location is open, because right now I'm talking about commercial, even if the location is open, how are you going to complete the inspection if you have not answered the questions? So that may answer some of the questions that some of you guys may have pertaining to me. When you see me do ride-alongs, you're like, how is she completing the inspection if the person doesn't show? There you have it. When I know that I'm having a problem, that's one of the times that I will most definitely ask the questions over the phone. Once I finally get them on the phone, or they finally call me and say, yeah, I'm ready to set my appointment, how long is it gonna take? I always let them know it could take a few minutes up to a little bit longer than that, depending on how large your location is. But if you would like to, we can go ahead and get these questions answered now, and that way we can just run in and get these pictures and get everything taken care of, and you can show me all of the major things that I need to see, and we can get out of there. Okay. Normally that works. And they're like, okay, shoot, I'm ready to go. So they will answer the questions. Once the questions are answered, if I am working through a company that will allow me to save the information, then I will save the information in their system at that point. I do not wait around until after I've done the inspection, which may not be scheduled for another week. It may not be scheduled for another 3 days out, but you get what I'm saying. I already have the answers, so I'm gonna go on ahead and put the answers in the system. Sometimes I may not, but that depends on the company too. And that's another ball game. And you know what? I'm not even gonna talk about that. Some things you just cannot say. But I can let you guys know that the companies that do not allow you to save any information, at least you will already have the answers in front of you. So that's one of the main reasons why I always try my best to get the answers. At first, when I first started, I was not doing that. So not only was I driving up to a location and couldn't get in, or the person who didn't show would have me feeling like I'm not supposed to do anything else but just walk away, but at the same time I didn't have answers to nothing either. So I just spent all of my time and effort trying to get an appointment set just to get there and end up walking away with nothing. Now imagine that if you are trying to set appointments with insurers, and when you finally get there 3, maybe 4 days later on appointment day, it's already on your schedule. You already knowing that this is what you're going to do today, and when you get there they don't show up and you come home with empty forms and all. So that's why I started asking up front, and as many as I can get done up front I will. Now there are going to be some who are not going to participate. They're not going to want to cooperate with you. when you are trying to get those questions answered up front. They may say they're too busy right now. No, I'll just meet you there and I'll get all the answers when I get there, and then you know what? You got to just hope for the best on that, because sometimes when they say that, they don't even show up. They may send a representative. There is nothing you can do about that. This is all a part of this job. You never know who's going to be there. You don't know if the insurance is actually going to show up, or if the insured is going to send their wife or the husband. They may be partners in the game. You may not know. You don't know that until someone shows up. Or it may be a trust, but the person you talk to said they're coming, but they send someone else who's in the trust who handles none of the finances and may not know answers to any of the questions. So you try to get as many questions answered over the phone if you possibly can get them. So to me, that has always worked out the best, and that explains why I always say, well, at least I got the answers. I got the answers. So if I roll up to a location, and let's say, for instance, I'm at a restaurant or whatever it may be, and I roll up there and I get into the location and the person decides they're not coming, or they're in traffic, or I call them and they say, "Ooh, I plumb forgot." That's a no-show. But I have access to the location. The manager on the inside, 9 times out of 10, is going to call the owner and tell them I'm there, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly how this normally plays out. I get everything I need on the inside. The questions are already answered. You didn't show, but I'm about to still get paid. So when y'all hear me say that, don't never think that I am not finishing my inspection, because I get it done. I just go about it in strategic ways to make sure that I don't work myself to death on that day. And if I've already saved information into the system, then when I come back, all I got to do is upload the pictures and press submit. You see, there are a lot of things about this job that will seem tedious and hard at times. And one of the major players in all of that is dealing with the forms and getting those questions answered. But if you come up with a strategy, you can get this work done and be happy with the end result. So drop it in the comment section and tell me, how do you go about setting up your appointments? And when it comes to appointments, are you actually getting those questions answered, if at all possible, while you're on the phone? Because that's a great tip. I don't think I've ever just made a video about that. Normally, I don't even talk about that. But I decided I would, because I have so many different people asking me during my mentorship, what is one of the things that I do? And that is one of them. So drop it in the comment section. Let me know. In the meantime, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, because I'll be bringing you back something later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.